Sunday, happy Sunday. Derek over here is already counting down to Christmas, I see. Hello, Derek. Can you hear me?
Yes, I got my tree up. It's rocking and rolling. I got my tree up. My kids are getting into the Christmas spirit, so deep cleaning and getting the Christmas tree up. So
nice.
And blasting Mariah Carey already.
Oh yeah, Mariah Carey.
Oh, yeah.
You got to have the tree.
Him, not me.
Only him, not her.
Hey, you got to have 2 months worth.
Not this early.
So we're going to just jump right into it tonight. Thank you to our sponsors, Small Town Productions, Larry Eisler III, Creepy Crate, Reaper Paranormal, Crooked Path Paranormal, and then Breaking Fate Entertainment, and then Mr. Willie's Dark Arts and Oddities. So please go out and support those sponsors of On-Turn Pages. Speaking of Mr. Willie's Dark Arts and Oddities Con is coming up very fast in like 12 days, 13 days. It is November 15th and 16th in DeKalb, Illinois. It's a 2-day event, bunch of different vendors, workshops, film festivals, so much more happening during that event. So please go out and support that. You will see me there. I will be doing an aura workshop and then selling photography. So come out and support that great event. And while you're in DeKalb, go out and check Mr. Willie's Dark Arts and Oddities store. It just opened last month. It is right downtown DeKalb. So great time to go out and check it out as well. Let's see. Our guest tonight is Sterling Moon. She is a full-time heels on the ground tarot reader, psychic medium, folk magician, animal communicator, published author, podcaster, and educator on the mystical and the strange. She has a couple of books out through Llewelyn and several self-published works and more titles on the way. So let's bring her in here. There she is.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. So thank you so much for having me on. It's lovely to meet you all.
Yes,
Yeah.
you as well.
Nice to meet you.
If you see me like poking my screen, it's my laptop keyboard has stopped working again. So instead
Love
of
it.
me
Love it when that
closing
happens.
my laptop and doing it, I'm just going to touch the screen and we'll just go from there. So tell us a little about yourself. I know I just did a little quick intro for you, but tell the listeners more about you.
Yeah. And please let me know if you can't hear me or sorry, you're going to be able to hear my creaky old chair. People are sometimes like, what's that sound? I'm like, literally, it's just my old chair that I haven't gotten around to replacing. I think you covered most of the basics, but I think the thing that has really shaped me is, I spent 20 years in a very different career. I was an professional advocate for victims and survivors of crime. Grew up in a lousy home environment and, wanted to make the world better. And so that was what I did for a really long time. And so I started working under the name, Sterling is my real first name, but Moon is not my real last name, because in the midst of being an advocate and towards the end of my career, I was doing public policy work and legislative advocacy, but I'd also been reading tarot since like 1995 and always been sensitive to the presence of spirits. And so around 2013 is when I first started working with clients professionally and like teaching tarot. I had an astronomical, I don't know if any of you have had to pay childcare bills, but it might as well be like a second mortgage. And so right. I started a little side hustle of reading tarot and just kept learning and started realizing that kind of the weird feelings that I had of almost being kind of ashamed that I was so sensitive to other people's emotions and sensitive to the presence of spirits, and sometimes would have like those little psychic popcorn moments of I'll, and this sometimes will still happen. I can't control it. I wish I did. It would be a great party trick, but sometimes I'll talk with somebody and get I'll get what they're middle name is or something like
Right.
that. And so like over time, just kind of getting into more of like the witchcraft and the witchcraft and folk magic communities in my area, I started learning a lot about how to work with spirits, and things kept evolving. I started this work became my full-time job in 2022, and it just keeps getting weirder and more fun like every day. We'll also apologize. I'm sure that I'm preaching to the choir. October is really tiring when this is like your
Right.
world. Like I was like, had a moment of November 2nd sounded like a really good idea. And I was like, I hope I can like string my words together. So if I just if I just start saying words that don't make sense, it's because
Right.
of October. So
Well, yeah, October is crazy. Like I was gone for almost 2 full weeks between going to like Virginia City and California, and then flying one day later to Lexington, Kentucky for Scarefest. I'm like, by the time I got home after airplane delays and stuff, I had been gone almost a full 2 weeks. I'm like,
oh my
now
gosh.
it's November. It's kind of dying down, hopefully, and I can take the next couple months off and
Yes.
stay at home.
Yeah, it's funny because like during the wintertime, when you're busy all year long, and then you're like, oh my God, I need a break. And then when you finally do get the break, for me, it's like, okay, now it's like December, January, and then you're like, oh my God, I haven't done anything in like a month or two. And you're like trying to get it out and like, do some ghost hunting or, just get out with, everybody and see everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The dead
I
months
know that
are
right now I'm
crazy.
at the point where I'm like I'm like, that'll be so great, but I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like you miss your people. Like this is like
Right.
that's the whole point, is this is like about community. And so yeah.
Yeah, because like in the paranormal, there's like no events in January, December, January, February. March usually kicks off everything. You'll be like, when you finally get back with your people, you're like, it's been so long. No, it's only been like 4 months.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it feels like forever.
Right. So when did you first realize that you had these gifts? How far back did these gifts go back for you?
Yeah. So I think probably like for most spooky people, whether you're spooky as like a medium or you're spooky as like, coming from an investigative, like, kind of psychical research perspective, or, whether you're an occultist or a magical practitioner, I feel like it tends to go back to childhood for most of us. And I am no different than that. My mom has a story of when she was pregnant with me. And so these gifts definitely run in my family. And I think that that's really, that's common for so many of us. I think that a lot of our families, over time, it's easier to maybe funnel it into maybe religion, or, it's more like socially acceptable, at least in my family. It was like, we're kind of Italian American on my mom's side of the family. I didn't know my dad's family particularly well, but I know they were Romanian. And so like Romanian Baptist is a thing. And so it's a lot more socially acceptable to kind of like, I speak with the angels, I speak with, or, speak with God, than sometimes it is of like, yeah, I still keep in touch with with my, great grandmother or something like that,
Right.
So my mom has this story of we were living in she and my dad were living in some teeny tiny town in Colorado. And she remembers seeing like she was pregnant with me, and she remembers seeing like a shadow of a cowboy walk across the room that she was like laying down in. She was just trying to like rest her feet, and they were like 30 miles away from anything. And so she remembers, I think she kind of knew that I was going to come out a little spooky even from, just the womb. But
Right.
the first time I remember hearing a spirit was like hearing a man cough in my grandparents' house, and like, my granddaddy wasn't home. There were no other men that were there. And it's just kind of took off from there. My parents were silversmiths, and so we lived in a lot of, you name any tiny town in Colorado with super cheap rent, and we probably lived there. Like we lived, when I was 2, we lived in a house with like no running water. That was like, we've lived in houses that were built for like, migrant farm workers in the 40s and 50s. Like we had a wild upbringing. And so in the 80s, my parents, they had the opportunity to be caretakers for these gallery owners named the Horwiches. They owned a gallery called the Horwich Gallery in Santa Fe. And so I had the opportunity. I mean, we lived in a little trailer that was down by the horse barn, but we got to be on the grounds of this big old historic governor's mansion. And so that place was haunted as hell. Like, it was so haunted. There was reported deaths. There was a, reported suicide that had happened there. Parts of the house had cold spots. You'd hear things moving around on different floors. And when I was little, I remember just I had a wild imagination. And so there were spirits that were just like my friends. I was like 5.
Right.
So it goes back as far as that. And then it just keeps getting stranger.
Wow.
That's
I have a question. So I just wrote it down, and I don't know. So I'm always intrigued with like people who I speak with that are, I guess, into the witchcraft and things like that. So like, how do you channel out negative energy, and like, do you ever get like negative things that try to sneak in and kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then how do you channel that out?
So, I mean, the way that I was taught, and really this was kind of through my study and practice of folk magic traditions, is that much like there are just lousy people in this world, there are spirits that are lousy too.
yes.
And, lousy has a range, right? And so sometimes you'll run into, I'm sure you all have experienced this, where you go to a location and there's spirits that maybe they just don't want you there, or they've got like a chip on their shoulder. And so sometimes there's like spirits that are just like, they're just jerks because they were probably jerks when they were alive. Sometimes, again, there's like those built up agregoric type spirits that, are fed over time of like, everybody's like, oh my God, there's this thing that's there. Yeah. Yeah. And so sometimes there's those. And then sometimes there's the ones that are really nasty and nefarious. Right. And so I do think that, one, like I always will say to my students, like an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so whatever situation I go into, whether it is like doing, magical workings, or if I'm going into a space, like I have a group of students that I will I rent a haunted location once a year for like a group of like mediumship students that have studied with me. And we go and we play for like, 72 hours, and we just have a blast. But a big thing, the reason that I only open this up to people who studied with me is because we ground. We're aware of like what we're bringing in. We release as much of it as possible. We ground, we protect, then we communicate with spirits or do magical working or whatever it is that we're going to do. And then you gotta disconnect. You gotta completely, you probably see this too, like the number of folks who just kind of like go in cold and like, we're gonna talk to the spirits, and then we peace out, and we don't like say goodbye, we don't like have
close it down.
Or people that will also say too, like I'd love to keep in touch. Some folks like do kind of keep that open line of communication, and it's like, that's okay, fine, but I don't necessarily want to do that with anybody that I just met. But so, and then there's also the idea of like spiritual hygiene is a really like, which I'm sure everybody here has their own version of it. Maybe you come home from a location and you take a shower right away, or you wash your clothes. And then there's magical ways that you can bring that in. My house is pretty active. It was before I moved in. So like the way I clean, the way I take care of myself, it's kind of a lifestyle. I guess it's kind of a lifestyle at this point, which I'm sure you all can relate to in your own ways too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I was just up in Virginia City in Nevada, and we had gone to like the Washoe Club, which was amazing. Like it was really like good energy, except for one little part. And then me and my friend went to the Mackey Mansion the following night. That night, cool. It was owned by John Mackey, who was one of the wealthiest people in Virginia City at the time. And the tour guide said, pretend that you're the people that came in and tried to steal the silver from the Mackey family. So we did that. Let's just say they didn't like that very well. And I have a photo from that night that looks like there's a spirit right in front of me and his hands are around my neck.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
I think how he died and how he interacts with people now, if they come in and or pretending they stealing them silver, he will turn the night around for you. And let's just say me and my friend looked at each other at one point of the night and we're like, we're never coming back. We never want to investigate again. That's how bad it got. And we're like, we're never coming back to Mackey Mansion again. But it was crazy. Like, totally, like, spirits, if they were mean in life, if they have feelings about people coming in and saying they're going to steal their silver, which they lived off at the time, it would turn the spirits to the opposite
What?
emotions. So, but yeah.
Sorry.
All right.
My light started flickering.
John Mackey came to visit you.
They're still pissed off.
What the hell? You're conjuring something to my house.
You conjured something in your house.
We were just at the church, though.
I know.
So Jenny, so what's your process? Like when you come home, like, or what's your process before you go to bed at night? Like in a situation, because I'm assuming do you stay like on location so you can sleep there? And have...
Like most of the time, yes. So like the Mackey, the Russia, we stayed as long as we could. We could have stayed until like 7 a.m. But it was so cold in there, we were like shaky. We're like, okay, we spent about 7 hours here. We've got some good evidence. Let's call it a night. Go back to the motel and warm up a little bit. But like I cleanse myself because I'm a psychic medium empath, so I can pick up on the spirits around it.
Yeah.
So I do like stones, just saying it in my head, and then at the end be like, you have to stay here. This is your spot. You can't come back with me, because I've had dealt with spirit attachments several times. So
yeah,
I always try to avoid that at all times as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. There's times where I forget to say, okay, goodbye, you gotta stay here. But a lot of time, most of the time I do. And, but like during when I'm investigating, as our group, we give the spirits respect when we're communicating with, the afterlife, because, we say our thank yous, and when they respond to it, we like to say please, because we get a better response, when we treat spirits with respect, like they're real human, like they're really, alive,
Mm-hmm.
So
when did you first get your first set of tarot cards?
Oh gosh, I was 15 and I had that, we all have that high school friend with the cool older sister.
Yeah.
And so it was I had a friend named Maria Cardona, and I was over at her house and we were probably making some trouble. And she had that cool older sister. Yeah, sure. Andrea Cardona I always use her name because I'm always like, Andrea, if you ever hear this, know that you changed my life. And so just out of the blue, she said, come upstairs. I've got something I want to give to you. And she gave me a set of, normally they are sitting right here, but I have many, many tarot decks, but those ones are usually close. But today, of course, they're not. But they're like just a set of Smith Rider-Waite cards that were probably from the 70s. There was no guidebook or anything. And she just said, I think you'd be good at this. And I took them home. And, keep in mind, this is 1995 or 1996 in rural Wyoming. And so there's like not really a lot of resources, and the internet is like dial-up chat rooms, which I didn't use anyway. But my mom went and got me a book. It wasn't the best book in retrospect, but I just kind of farted around with them for I think probably 7 or 8 years. And then I had a really good teacher. I only studied with her like for maybe a month or two, but her name is Lady Collett. I was in grad school in Duluth, Minnesota. And she looks exactly like you would want somebody named Lady Collett to look like the big hair and like flowing robes. And she was like a 3rd generation Wiccan high priestess. And she swore like a truck driver. And it was so great. And so, that was around 2008. And then that's when I really, really got into it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So do you visit Minnesota a lot then, or?
I lived there for 4 years. I didn't go back for 10 years and I just went home. I still think of it as like one of my homes, like, and so
Right.
I just went back this past summer, and you can sometimes, like, you don't go to a place, go home for 10 years and people
Yeah.
are like, hell with you, like, but no, it was like I'd never left, but everybody just said, would you please not, like, wait a decade before you come
Right.
back? And everybody keeps baiting with me with all the haunted locations in Duluth, and I'm just like, so now I want to go have events in, like, the Iron Range and, like, in Duluth, and, like,
Please do. Like, I
the-
live at the Twin Cities. I live 10 minutes from Llewelyn's head office.
oh my
So
God. Well, then we're gonna have to connect next time I go back, because
yeah.
oh my God, that's so great.
And then we could take a road trip down to Alicia and Derek's location in Iowa. It's only 3.5 hours from my house.
Oh my
Yeah, that'd be
God.
Have some fun.
It's like the neighbor's house right there. That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's y'all's favorite places? Like, what's your favorite place in Minnesota, and what's your favorite place in Iowa?
Mine is the Palmer House in Sauk Center.
Oh, what's that?
So if you come to Minnesota, if you come back, I know the owner of the Palmer House very well.
Oh.
And I can get into the basement very well because I know the password. But all the rooms are really active. The basement's crazy. The main floor is crazy. I've had some crazy experiences. Like, at one point, I had such a profound experience in the basement. I didn't go back for like 8 years because it scared the shit out of me. And I finally went back like maybe like 5 years ago, and I've been back several times since. I'm like, just can't do what you did last time I came here. Like, I got stuck in one spot. Like, I couldn't move my body. I couldn't go anywhere. Like, the spirits just got me stuck. But that's in Sauk Center. We have like the Grant House in West City, the Greyhound bus place up in Duluth area. So yeah.
Oh, so good. So good.
Mm-hmm.
What's your
Yeah.
favorite place in Iowa?
We've never been to Minnesota. Actually, that's crazy, but we'll get there some point to investigate. I have been there when I was younger, but that was for cheer competition at the Mall of America. But there's so many places in Iowa. Like, we've been to Edinburgh Manor a handful of times now. And in Illinois, we're in Illinois, but we're border Iowa. Literally, we can hop on a bridge and we'll be there in like 15, 20 minutes. So there's also the Quarters One on the Arsenal. It's the second biggest government building next to the White House. And it's a beautiful place. And then we've been to Ashmore Estates a handful of times. That's in Illinois as well.
And then you have your location.
We have our location. It was originally a German Lutheran church built in 1869 and then built onto in 2005. It switched over names a few times, and now we are the caretakers there. And obviously, we're going to say that we love our location, but we love every location that we've been to. It's a hard pick, but I have to say that I am hard in love with asylums just because I work in the healthcare field.
Yeah.
So I know like what kind of trauma that they went through. And I'm such just a passionate, caring person. You know, I get down to that level, especially because I do have abilities myself, and I'm you know, I'm an empath. So it hits hard for me for the asylums for me. So I would say if it was another place, I would put Ashmore and Edinburgh up there.
Yeah, I would say Edinburgh.
Just wait until you go to Pennhurst. Just wait until you go to Pennhurst is all I can say.
For Iowa, I would say like Edinburgh, and definitely, you know, our Sanctum of Souls, you know, our Buffalo Church. And then honestly, we just visited the Granger House out in Marion, Iowa, and that place is absolutely stunning. And we hadn't even got to like really touch the whole place yet because, you know, with the time and stuff. But when we were out in the little pasture barn there, me and Tom and Scott, we had a crazy experience with footsteps walking, knocking, voices. I mean, it was wild, like motion detectors going off and stuff. So that place was pretty cool. We just visited that, and I just want to keep going back to our church, because it's like it's just drawing me in, because I want to know more. I want to know more. I want to undiscover this.
It's new for like paranormal. Like it's only been in our hands for a few months now, so we are
not even a couple months. It's not been
like what's going on there, but now we're getting people in there. And Kalani Ghost Hunter was just there yesterday with his wife and his pop and a couple other friends, and they were picking up the same stuff that we were telling them, that the kind of activity that we're having at the location. So to see that others are picking that up too, it just validates everything so much more.
Yeah.
Definitely. And getting more information too.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of this is like, there's intelligence there. I think there's a little bit of residual there. Yeah. You get a lot of German coming through when you're talking with spirit, like through the spirit boxes.
Oh, yeah.
And it was funny because like we had a medium come through, and they said that there was like in the hallway there is like a kind of portal thing, where that's like a threshold where they built onto the new from the old. It's a hallway that they built. And so like last night when they were crossing it, they were running their Ovilus on their live stream on TikTok. And as soon as they crossed that threshold, it says gateway. And it was like right there at that moment. And I'm like, oh my God, that is incredible. Like that just validates what we've all experienced there. And man, it's just like a church. Like, they're like, everybody's like, how is the church haunted and this and that? And I don't know. I can't tell you,
but also think about, what is prayer? I mean, I have some of my mentors will say prayers are spells, right? They're incantations. They're said over and over again. I mean, people will often say, I'm nervous to open that door, but it's like, we open doors all the time in consciousness. Yes. When you tell think about you send your love to your grandparents who've passed, but if, people are literally sitting in pews and they're focused on prayer, and that gets built up over time. And so I love those places of power. I mean, I think of those, this is not somewhere I've had the pleasure of going, but I will say too, I was somebody who I wasn't really raised with religion. So sometimes I get to kind of jump into these things as like a kind of like a folklorist and a folk practitioner. Right. And I'm like, oh my God, look at this grotto where like St. Michael was discovered. And I want to go there because I bet that's like a weird and wild place. And then I have then there's like my husband he's like a recovering Catholic. And he's like, I'm not comfortable with this. Like, this is too much. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forget. I don't have religious trauma. So, so I love churches. And like, so in the West, we have this, I don't know if any of y'all have ever been to like Santa Fe or like that area, but where there's this church called Chimayo. It's actually a little town called Chimayo. It is wild, but it's like a pilgrimage site. And so there's this, this like basement type thing that you go in, and it's like this dirt that's always replenishing. And there's like this whole, like you take the dirt and it's like magical healing dirt. But that place has a vibe. And so, yeah, I love a church. So anyway, sorry, I got excited. I don't remember what the point of that
was. Awesome. That's so cool about dirt, like replenishing itself. And I'm just like, that's like, I don't know, like, cause it's coming from the land. Like you think that if there was like something that happened on the land, like maybe something could have seeped into the dirt and stuff. And it's supposed to help you, but maybe I kind of question whether it might be the opposite of that for some people sometimes.
Maybe for some people. I know it's a site that a lot of people go to for healing in particular. Like there's there's the church of like, I think it's just like La Nino. And so it's like this, it's a very, again, I don't want to be disrespectful because it's like, for people that go there and that are bringing their, you see a lot of crutches, a lot of children's shoes and things like that. So from like just a sheer aesthetics perspective, it's terrifying. But a lot of people go there for like, basically for miracles, and supposedly people have received them. And so who am I to judge with that? If it helps you, it helps you. And
Right.
I do sometimes wonder from like, just like the logic, common sense, I do sometimes wonder if the replenishing dirt is also just like the building settling, like, like there's,
Right.
and so, but at the same time, if like, because sometimes with faith, that's an egregore too, if enough people believe it, that's the spirit that we're feeding too, right? And so that's another thing we talk about all the time in magic.
Yep, power of manifestation, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the folklorist. You're a folklorist. So what is that like?
So basically that is, I'm a big nerd who really likes history and fairy tales and understanding about why things are the way that they are, right? And so I love, with one of the things that's helped me the most with mediumship is back in my early days, I fell into an apprenticeship where I was studying particularly a type of folk magic of Scandinavia called trolldom. And so that was really like my foundation of learning how to work with spirits in a non-fussy way. Basically, the idea is, because most folk magic practices, which those are like the ancestral practices of really all of us. Like, I mean, if we go, no matter what your culture is, your heritage is, if you go back far enough, there's usually a belief in, plural gods. There's a deep connection to the cycles of nature. And there's also belief in, the spirits of the land, the spirits of the dead, the spirits that are not human in a variety of ways. And so I love, personally, like I found a lot of healing and help learning about my own heritage and then going off on a wild goose chase, finding what are the folkloric stories of my heritage, right? Like we just came through Halloween or Samhain, which it is so fun to track. Like, how is it, especially for us in America, because we go so over the top with our love of Halloween. And it's really fun to be able to go back and track, like, we have, maybe some circumspect documentation of what the Druids were practicing. The Druids didn't write anything down, so most of the things that are documented about the Druids were written down by other people. But, it was a time of like, Samhain was in Ireland and the British Wales, and that was kind of it was the end of the year. It was a time to settle debts and pay your taxes. It was a time to, it was like there was a whole like bunch of different practices that when you like track it back, it leads to how we, celebrate a modern Halloween or a modern holiday like Halloween. So Yule, like somebody mentioned that they love Christmas. Christmas is like the original spooky season, in my humble opinion. There's so much creepy stuff with Christmas, like the wild hunt of Odin. Like that's like one of my favorite ones. There's like, because we like to make our homes all cozy. We like to decorate with the color red, and there's the lore of the Yule log or burning the bayberry candle to bring good luck from 1 year into the next. A lot of those things that we do to like keep the home merry and bright were often to like repel the scary spirits, because in the darkest parts of the year, that was like the time that the dead and particularly the restless dead and like the nasty and nefarious spirits, like that's their time out there. And so I can't remember exactly what day it is. So if anyone in the comments can share this, there's like one day where it's like, the wild hunt of Odin. Odin like comes out with all the spirits and goes, I think it's the darkest night of the year. So it's the night before, it's the solstice. It's the solstice. Duh, Sterling, you're so tired. But and so there's the idea too that you could even prepare yourself and your spirit and astral project your spirit out to connect with the wild hunt with Odin as he brings all of his spirits, gallivanting throughout the night. There's a lot of really good stories. So that's the kind of stuff that you can get into when you start getting into the folklore and like folkloric magical practices.
Yeah.
So would Krampus be a part of the folklore?
Yes.
I mean,
oh my God.
Watching the movie.
Oh my God. Krampus is like So I have a really good friend she's Czech, and so in Czech, Saint Nicholas's Day. So that's like September or blah, blah,
Uh,
December. Yes,
yeah, December.
December 5th, right? Because that's
Yeah.
Krampus's day, and then
Krampus.
December 6th is Saint Nicholas's Day. And so that's like the day, like that's like the big day instead of, actual Christmas. And so she was saying that there's like all these, the lore is that Saint Nick wanders around with both the devil, who's kind of like Krampus, and also an angel. And they go out and they quiz the kids on like, do you know your Bible verses and have you been good? And if not, you go with Krampus, and, so, or the devil-like creature. So Krampus is like, that's German, I believe, but there's kind of analogous spirits that are in other cultures as well. But I love that Krampus is becoming like more of a thing in the
Right.
The
New
festival
Year.
that they hold every year, everyone like dressed up as Krampus and roaming the streets and drinking the booze and stuff. Like that
Right.
sounds like a good time to me. Like I want to go experience that for myself sometime.
Or what's the one, the Marilu? Is that like how you say it? The horse skeleton, like that one. I think that one might be that's somewhere in like Europe, but it's like another one of like this. Anyway, there's so much spooky stuff around Yule and the
Right.
Christmas season. It's so good.
That's awesome. I haven't heard about that one. You said Mary Lou or
Marilu, like Marilwye or something. I'm probably butchering this, but I like horse face skeleton / Yule, and I bet that Google combination will probably
Right.
oh yeah, AI will pull it up and stuff.
Yeah, AI will be perfect for us, right? So, what has been your favorite experience or something that's happened to you in the process of your work? Or has anything like truly terrified you or frightened you?
Oh God. I mean, it's kind of, well, I'm sure you all probably have the same thing where it's like kind of hard to pick just one, right?
Right.
There's a house that I always think of, and I promised I wouldn't name the house if I were ever to publicly declare that it was haunted. But one of the places that I brought my students was in 2023, and it was in one of the mountain towns that is south of Colorado. And it was one that I just like found on Airbnb. And it was like,
Don't you love that?
oh my God, you're right. Like, I feel like there's all of these just like hidden gems. And it was, I had found some like, articles and some really, maybe overly sensationalized YouTube videos that were like, this is the most haunted house in Colorado. And now it's used for like yoga retreats and stuff like that. But so the owners were a little hesitant to have me come out, and they were like, well, you can't promote that it's haunted. I'm like, I literally have to like say that it's haunted. I have to tell people where they're like, if I want people to come to this event, I have to be able to tell them like a little bit. So we had to like do all these negotiations. But the thing that was weird about this place is that it was almost like a place where time got really slippy. And so there was
like experiencing time slip.
Yeah.
And it's really rocking back into that time period.
Yes. And also just it just was weird. And let me explain. So when we get there, I had a group of 14 mediums, and one of them, so this is the very last day. And she says, she's like we're all packing up and getting ready to go. And she's like back towards this basement. And this basement was weird because you would go downstairs and you'd start getting confused. Like I would go down there and just suddenly I'm like, I don't remember why I'm there. It just like, it felt really weird. And she's at the top of these stairs and she says, where's the door to the basement? And we're like, babe, there isn't a door to the basement. She's like, no, there was. And she's like, I texted my sisters, and she pulls out this text that says, leave it to me. I just got to the house, and the first thing that I did was find the stairs to the creepy basement. And it wasn't there anymore. This happened to me too in fast forward to just like a week ago. I just had my 4th annual event. It's called Beyond the Veil Mediumship and Paranormal Weekender. We were at the Oliver House in Bisbee, Arizona. And so that's like the haunted boarding house. Really wonderful, wonderful place. But the very last day, like I'm noticing that all the transom windows are open on the side that I'm staying in. And I'm like, I'm asking the girls, I'm like, hey, anybody open the transom windows? No. I go ask the caretaker, Kaylin. I'm like, hey, did you open the transom windows? Nope, I haven't been up there since you were here. But then I started talking to one of the other girls, and she's like, Sterling, they've been like that this whole time. And I'm like, the hell they have, because I would have not been able to sleep because I would have been hearing people go into the bathroom all night. So, like those weird things sometimes happen in haunted spaces. But this other house in the town's name is Manitou Springs, Colorado. One of my girls, she's like been with, I mean, she has like she's got good common sense. She's a medium, but like she's got a good, I mean, she's a common sense babe. And so she texts me and she's like, Sterling, she's oh, hi kitty. Sorry, I have a 5-month-old kitten that just she's
we have a 3-month-old puppy here who is running through a house like crazy right now.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better. I'm like, everybody, this is Poe. She's adorable. She's a menace. She's 5 months old. She's a Gemini, and she's like living up to her sign. But so Cindy, we were like all out exploring, and Cindy texts and says, I can't, like, she's like, the house is gone. The house is gone. Like, Google is sending me to where it should be. The gate's not there. The house isn't there. She drove 2 or 3 times, and then suddenly the house is back, and she comes in and she's rattled. I mean, and then that place, there were more things that happened there than, man, it was, oh God, okay, this is not going to end well. Anyway, distraction moment, but there are so many, but I love those ones where it's kind of like, because of course it's cool when you hear the things or you have the like, well, you know how it is, like your threshold for what is right. Your threshold keeps increasing. And so sometimes those ones where it's like something is there and then it's not, those are really interesting anymore.
Right. Yeah. Like when my friend who goes to Virginia City all the time, she has a photo of what it looks like, a time slip. Because you will see like the old wagons and horses and miners on just like the main street of Virginia City at like 1 a.m.
So cool.
I was like, girl, if I am on this, because after dark, that town gets quiet, like eerily quiet. And you can literally walk down the main road of Virginia City. I'm like, if I see a freaking horse and carriage come out of nowhere, I know I could run into a time slip. She's like, yeah, time slips happen a lot in Virginia City. I'm like, yeah, I can imagine it because you're literally walking back into time, just like Tombstone or those other old time cities that has like kept the feel of that time era.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So one more, because this one just happened. This is a fresh one in the brain. So we're in Bisbee, and I always like to take my group on I always want them to go on a ghost tour or a historical tour, wherever we go. And so shout out to Old Bisbee Ghost Tours. I think that's what it's called. And our tour guide, Alexis, she's amazing. And so we're outside of, it was the Bisbee Inn. And
I know what that is. Yeah.
Oh God, that place is fantastic. And anyway, she she's telling a story and then it gets interrupted by a really loud train whistle, like the train horn. You can hear the clackety clackety clack, and we're like, oh, there's a train. And she's just got this look on her face, and we all heard it. She said, "There's no train that goes through Bisbee anymore." And crazy. That was cool because. Well, there was like 17 of us. Actually, there were even a few people that weren't with our group. So there was like almost 20 of us that all heard the same thing. So
that would be cool.
That's crazy. Like, yeah. Like,
stop. You're a menace.
Oh to investigate in Bisbee, but I've been to Tombstone. We've driven through Bisbee, and I want to go and like really investigate it. Like I've driven through Manitou Springs up in Colorado. We used to go to Colorado every year.
Yes.
That I think I know exactly what location you're talking about in that town too, because I've driven past it and I'm like, I think that place is creepily haunted. But it was funny because we were there one year and we had just gone to Garden of the Gods, and we stepped in the mining thing that you could go through into the caves and stuff up in the springs. And the tour guides come out. They're like talking about basically dissing Zach Bagans, right? 'Cause, like, Zach Bagans should come here and investigate and do his whole demon thing because we think it's a demon here. And I'm looking through the window going into like where the tourist stores. You go through the hallway into the mine area, and all I see is like an old miner sitting there with his head down, just shaking his head. And I'm picking up like is these idiots don't know what they're talking about. Like they're making fun of us. Like we see them, they can't see us, but they're making fun of us.
Right.
I kind of really wanted to go up to that tour guide and be like, y'all need to shut the fuck up. You're kind of pissing spirits off.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And also learn some freaking history. Like learn
Right.
some history. That's like I think the best part of like doing this work, and whether it's no matter what like lens you're coming through, whether it's mediumship or paranormal investigation or whatever, but you have to learn about history if you want to like really get into this, and that's a good thing. It's definitely a good thing.
When you go into locations, do you go in cold without like the history of the location and do like a whole reading, like you want to come in with no knowledge, or do you want to go in with knowledge and then confirm or deny that information that you learned?
So it depends on the circumstance. And, one of the things for us, because like I always joke, like I'm there to like make friends and like be a sparkling conversationalist more than anything else. And so that's just kind of coming more from like that mediumship. Like the thing that I've learned, I've loved going into paranormal investigative spaces because it's taught me how to be a better medium, because it's taught me about like, here's some ways that you can like set up experiments. Here's like ways that you can, oh, thank you. There's my books. That you can, just like the importance of history and all the ways that you can like research places. And so like, for example, going to the Oliver House, I didn't want to know much because there has been a lot of sensationalized, like, and so I like just picked up on that right away. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to have that in my head. But like the year before, I was able to book the lodge library at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. And so there, and also too, it was because it's so close. It's like only an hour and a half from my house. And so I went up there a bunch to try to get to know the spirits. I bought like every history book that the gift shop had, because I really wanted to because I was just like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get to like do this again.
Right.
And so I wanted to really make the most of that experience. And so, but one thing that was really, really cool that happened when we were in Bisbee, we did, on our Thursday night, we so kind of like the flow of our event is Thursday night, we all gather, we take a tour, we kind of, get to know the town, get to know the haunted lore. Friday night, we always dedicate to kind of paranormal work, and particularly like we do like 5 hours of Estes method sessions. Like we just like
that's
go
the most
for
awesome part of.
And so one of the things that happened on Friday, and we always do because we have a bigger group, we always do like pairs. And so that's really fun, is like having two people go under. And because sometimes, they kind of like will have a conversation, or like they're saying the same thing. It's just cool, right? Yeah. And so one of the things that happened was one of the girls started saying 19, like 19, 19, 19, the women. And somebody just like asked, are you talking about the 19th Amendment? Yeah. And then, everybody's blindfolded.
Oh, wow.
And so they're like, yes, you have to find the guidebook. You have to find the guidebook. You need to share the guidebook. And we're like, that was weird. Like one of the things that was special about Bisbee is we had so many things that happened on Friday when we were doing Estes method session that we were like, that was weird. I don't know if that was cohesive. And then we do a seance on Saturday, and so many things came together at the seance. But one of the girls, her name's Katie. She's out in Nebraska. She has a business called Prairie Seer. She's great. She got a bee in her bonnet. And so she goes to the library on Saturday and asks the librarians, is there like a women's like suffragette guidebook that you all have? And I shit you not, there was. And so the librarian pulls this out, and apparently women in Arizona got the right to vote in 1912. So like more than a decade before like the rest of the country. And there was a group of women that were go-getters in Bisbee, and I love it. I'm going to get goosebumps. they decided that they needed to quit meeting in secret in people's houses and they needed to be out in public doing their work. And so the Oliver House was one of the places that they met. And they ended up going out and training women in other states to organize in their communities. And so we ended up inviting them into the seance the next night. I still need to hold up my end of the bargain and do a podcast. I have a podcast that has a little bit of a political bent, but I promised I would do a podcast about this, but oh, thank you so much. And yeah, we ended up channeling, we invited in the suffragettes, and they were very serious about the need for women to be more involved in their communities and to be out in public. And so we decided, we're like, what if we ran this like a meeting? And so we started using Robert's Rules of Order. We started using our paranormal devices. Like I had tracer lights and little cat balls, and we had REM pods, and we were using that as a way of like
communicating.
Is there emotion? You know, can we get a second? And we were getting little like hits on the devices. It was wild. So yeah, we basically had like a impromptu meeting with a group of suffragettes, and a lot of it was because we had an experience, and then one of our mediums was like, I'm going to go research this. And we found just a banger of information. Sorry, I haven't gotten to share the story yet. It was so good. It was
amazing.
That is amazing.
Badass woman that you got to
cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a fun story.
I love those type of experiences. Like when we stayed at the Stanley 4 years ago, like we were in town. We went to the gem show that's always held in Colorado in the fall, down in Denver. That's what we usually come to Denver for, was for the gem shows. And my friend does the magic shows at the Stanley, Aiden St. Clair.
Oh, yeah.
And we just happened to drive through because we brought a friend who's never been to Colorado. We're like, hey, let's just go through Estes Park. Let's go say hi. And he's like, I can give you free tickets to the show tonight and the seance at the Stanley. I was like, sure, okay. And we booked a night at the Stanley because it was like the seance was at like 12 a.m. Yeah. So we're like, okay, we'll spend the night. We checked in. We got a rollaway bed. I think we were on like the third floor. Got a rollaway bed, so we all had a bed to sleep on. And then we went to the magic show with Aiden, and that was like a couple hours long. We came back up, and the rollaway bed is gone. Went out to the front desk, and they're like, they checked the keypad because they can see who's entered and who's like when they left by the key usage. No one had entered the room. So like, okay, so where's the rollaway bed? He's like, we don't know, but we can move you to the fourth floor with a pull-out couch. I was like, okay, we could do that. No big deal. Did that. Went to the seance, and one of the claims of the Stanley Hotel is those rollaway beds will be moved from floor to floor by spirits. We're like,
oh my God.
And
I
then
love that.
We went up to the fourth floor, which is historically where the children played with their nannies while the parents were out at like the cigar bar, or down at the bar having parties or whatnot. And we had come up from the seance, and I kept seeing shadows in the corner of my eyes. And I think we were the only ones on that floor because it was being remodeled at the time.
Oh.
And I sat in the hallway. I'm just watching these spirits just like running up and down this hallway. I'm like, okay, there's kids. And of course, I didn't have any equipment because we were there for the gem show. I was like, this was a last minute choice. And I'm like, okay, it's like 3 a.m. I'm on bed. My friend who stayed with us had an experience when she woke up to a little girl next to the bed saying, "Good morning, mommy." And I heard it from the other side of the room. And I said, "What the fuck was that?" And she goes, "You heard that, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." The window was closed. No children were on that floor. I'm like, God damn it, I don't have a voice recorder on.
Oh, that's so good.
Stanley's amazing. I love it.
It never disappoints. And like, if you think of it too, from like, again, like going back to that idea of like spirits are a part, like this is all like a part of, I don't know, just like something bigger. it's all of like the material, like the Stanley is built from materials that are from what would later become Rocky Mountain National Park.
Yeah,
The park itself is magical, like
it is.
like it's
I
just,
love going
and
through Rocky Mountain.
it's so it's one of those things where it's like it's the spirits, that like the spirits of the dead, but then it's also the land, it's all the elk and like the
Elementals.
wildlife, and it never, people will be like, oh, I think it's just a bunch of hype. I'm like, you go there and you go with an open heart and open mind, and like you
Right.
see what happens. It never disappoints. Love it.
I wish the Stanley would let you like truly investigate, but they stopped so long ago. Like in 2012, they stopped the investigation part. Now they just have the ghost tours. I'm like, I want to investigate, but the rooms are so expensive to rent out.
It is it was the largest event that I ever had, because it was one of those where some people were like, I wish this were a smaller event. And I'm like, you want to be at the Stanley? Like we had to hit
You
a
have
threshold, my dudes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the Stanley is
cool.
crazy. Colorado has some crazy locations. My friend Richard Estep, who's a Llewelyn author, lives out there. Aaron Taylor lives out there, and all I hear about is the hauntings of Colorado. I'm like, I wish it wasn't so far away, because I would totally come and investigate more often out there.
Well, you know, the beauty of it is like literally everywhere is haunted. And especially if you just listen, if you just like learn to listen, you can, there's like, you're never bored if you learn to do this work. Like you're never bored. So
never.
It's the best.
So quickly talk about your 2 books. I feel like we haven't even touched like on these books besides talking about communicating with spirits. You have 2 books through Llewelyn, Talking to Spirits, and then the little book of spirit communications that just came out last month, I think.
Yeah, it was October 8th. Well, I mean, the good news is we've been talking about spirit communication, so we kind of talked about both. So like, boom. So the first one came out, that's Talking to Spirits, a Modern Medium's Practical Advice for Spirit Communication. That one came out in 2023. That one's a little bit more, so it kind of, you know, my style is, and I love, you know, hearing about y'all's experience too, because I find that there's a lot of silos where there doesn't need to be silos. Like sometimes, like, you know, the magical folks kind of keep in their bubble, and the paranormal folks keep in their bubble, and then the mediums and like the more like the psychic mediums keep in their bubble. Yeah. Like, this is stupid.
It still happens.
And
but in a little better.
Each other, and it's just like not helpful. But so Talking to Spirits is really like, it's kind of part memoir where it talks a lot about my stories and the things that I've learned. And it's it really does try to blend the folk magic with the mediumship work and the paranormal kind of exploration work. And so that one's a fun one. I love that one because I was able to bring in more of like the magical practice, and it's very like personal. It's written in first person and things like that. The Little Book of Spirit Communication I was invited to write that one as part of like, Llewelyn has this really cute little book series. And so they're and this is like the 20th one. Fun. So you don't have a lot of like say in what it looks like, which is fine because they're adorable. They're like cute little compact hardback books. But are any of you familiar with like the Buckland's Big Book of Spirit?
Yeah, the big ones.
The big red book. And so when I was first trying to start out, and like I didn't have live teachers yet, Buckland's Big Red Book was my first one. And so when they asked, like, do you have a thought on a color? I was like, could it be red? So then there's like, you know, Buckland's Big Red Book, and then Llewelyn's Little Red Book. So that was kind of a cute nod to the classic. But this one is it's like 20,000 words shorter, and it's written like, you know, I wanted to like take myself out of it as much as possible, and just really, the thing that I tried to think about was there's 4 ways that I see people coming to spirit communication, and that's either through grief and loss, their experience with grief and loss, because they are natural mediums, probably like many of us here. You know, we couldn't avoid the presence of spirits if we tried. And then, you know, magical explorers, and then also people who are interested in like the paranormal. And so I thought about how could a book cover all the basics that anyone coming through either of those 4 doors could benefit from. And it was real fun too, because I talk about like, the different types of spirits, like whether it's spirits of the land, spirits of the dead, the nasty spirits, but also kind of like thinking about like cryptids a little differently, thinking about the ways that like when, there's a lot of like UFO experiencers that, a lot of like UFO sightings and experiences are happening in places that are also, there's a lot of like classic haunting phenomena that happens as well. I talk about the clair senses. I talk about spirit communication basics, hauntings, a lot of folk stories, kind of getting into the research a little bit. I talk a bit about the history of the way that spiritualism, the rise of spiritualism coincided with the rise of the invention and rise of psychical research societies, and how sometimes that has impacted the ways that I think mediums and paranormal investigators work together, both in good ways and also not great ways.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm pretty, the writing a shorter book is harder than just going blah, 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 blah. And so I'm actually, I love both of my book babies equally, but I'm pretty proud of the new one that just came out, because I had to be concise.
Right. So do you have any more books down the pipeline that you're working with for Llewelyn?
I do. So I have one more with Llewelyn that I'm writing now that is mediumship skills for magical practitioners. Because sometimes I think that magical practitioners forget to listen to the spirit, because like everything has a spirit, whether it's your, everything has a spirit. I have a zine that I'm working on that was kickstarted. It's called Political Witch, Create the World That You Want to Live In. It's a 50-state zine project I have a background in advocacy and activism and community organizing. And so there's a long history of witches and magical people being involved in their communities to create change. And so it's a zine project that I want to see in all 50 states, just getting people to feel empowered to get out, basically witches to feel empowered to get out in their community and make good change from the ground up. And I've written a zine on Tarot 101. I have a workbook that I created a few years ago that's about documenting your work so you can track it. You've got my podcast up here. I haven't done as much podcasting this year as I have in the past few years, but I like to interview I like to interview people that are making the world a better and more magical place in unconventional ways, because I think so I interview a lot of witches, artists, musicians, poets, people who are just making the world better in all kinds of ways. Oh yeah, this is my spooky side of Christmas event that I have coming up.
Talk about this, because this seems so interesting. Like, I wish I could fly out for this, because
oh my God, I wish you could too. It would be so I am so excited about this event. I really hope it goes, because you all probably know how like it takes a leap of faith when you're renting out locations, especially the good ones. And so I'm like, oh God, I invested a lot of my savings in this. I really hope people like it. So in Denver, so Denver is our capital city in Colorado for folks who are not from here. And we have, oh gosh, back in the day, we had a Mount Prospect Cemetery, and that was like our city cemetery. And in the early 1900s, Denver decided we want to turn this into a park. And they hired a guy, I think his last name was McGovern, to move all the bodies. But this guy was a real turd. And he decided, because he was getting paid by the coffin, so he was cutting up bodies and putting them in child-sized coffins.
Oh my God.
It's so gross. And so a newspaper broke the story. He got busted. He basically was like, and then he started pushing back on his contract. Like he was leaving these open pits, saying his contract didn't cover him filling them. And at a certain point, the city just said, this is good enough. And so they just planted trees in like these open pits, and they opened the park, which became Cheeseman Park. The Denver Botanic Gardens is right next to Cheeseman Park, and that also covers a good chunk of the cemetery where the bodies were not moved. And so as recently as 2022, like a human arm bone, just like a human arm just like kind of unearthed itself in the Japanese Zen garden.
Oh my God.
Wow.
It's pretty wild. So I rented this lovely little solarium. It's called the Woodland Mosaic Solarium. And I wanted to offer a half-day experience where all the things that I got kind of geeked out about like, Yule and the spooky side of the Christmas season, we are going to enjoy that for a full 4 hours. I'm going to have like drinks and snacks and a little like photo. I want people to come and get dressed up. We'll have a little like Polaroid station.
Oh, that's
But we're going to do some folk magic practice. We're going to be, I have a friend who's coming out to help me with this, but we're going to be making some door talismans with like, evergreens to welcome in prosperity into your home, because that's a traditional part of the Christmas season. I'm making black scrying mirrors for everyone. So because divination and honoring our dead is also a part of the holiday season. And also it's perfect because this particular corner of the Denver Botanic Gardens is really close to the Potter's Field. It's wild. We're going to be doing, so we're just going to be having magical practice and creating things, and there'll be snacks and drinks and photos. And it's going to be just a really hopefully a really cozy, fun, and spooky day. And that's on Saturday, December 6th here in Denver.
Yeah.
See, I think the last time I went to Denver, we tried to find the cemetery, and it kept taking us to the conservatory, which I didn't know at the time. I was like, why? Why is it taking us here? And then I found out that the Molly Brown house isn't that far from there.
Yes.
I was like, dude. And we stopped in front of the Molly Brown house. I'm like, this place is fucking haunted. I'm like, it has some type of activity. Like, I want to get in there and be like, I want to investigate that place.
If you ever want to team up, because I'm constantly looking around. I'm like, where could I have an event? Where could I bring people in? And so the thing about our those beautiful old brownstones and stuff that we have in central Denver is, we had a really it was not a safe place for a long time. It's really gentrified and very expensive down there now. And they just, all these developers, they scrape all of our beautiful historic homes and put up these ugly boxes. But Molly Brown House, even, I believe, was a home where they, it was girls who were, pregnant and didn't have anywhere to go. And so a lot of those beautiful old mansions, I mean, they were kind of they were flop houses or halfway homes. And so there's a lot of, it's I love my fair city.
The only reason I wanted to go there is because I studied the Titanic so much, and she was one of the survivors of Titanic and had their house there. I was like, I just want to go, and it was closed because I don't know why it was closed. But I was like, I want to go in, and I'm just staying there. I'm like, she roams these halls. She definitely roams these halls. I will not be surprised.
It's a beautiful house. I would roam the hall too. It looks amazing. Well, thank you for, I probably would have completely forgotten to bring up my event because that's just how I tend to roll. And so thank you for bringing that up. I'm so excited about it.
I was telling you about it. I'm like, woo, what is the spooky side of Christmas? I'm like,
I would love to be able to experience something like that, to see the other side of, the other side of what, I say spooky, and then your cozy traditional Christmas versus the spooky side of the Christmas, I don't know how to explain it, but I'd love to go to an event like that. I mean, I think that more people should do events like that.
She should host it next year at the church.
Oh my God, that sounds so good.
That would actually be pretty cool. I
love throwing parties. Really, when I first started throwing, I have my retreat that I throw, but I just I've always loved throwing parties. I love throwing events and theme parties and things like that. And then when I realized, I'm like, oh, I could do this as just the being able to escape and just have an experience for a half day that's unusual, and you get to just I don't know, it just transport. That's the thing that I love about this work, is it just I have a friend who likes to say it's almost you get to just believe that everything that you were told for so long isn't real. You get to know, you get to sink in and no, there's something here, and it's so good.
Awesome.
We will definitely have to team up next year. And
I love it.
I'll either come to Colorado, or you could come to Minnesota, and we can hang out and do a full
sounds so good.
Because we could take you to Broadhead out in Wisconsin, the Palmer House, their church.
Broadhead would be fun.
Oh, Wisconsin.
Ever, it feels like.
The
but-
Masonic
So,
Law.
yeah, we
Ooh,
have our
Yes.
old school that we know the owner of very well in Wisconsin, and it's creepy. You never know what you're going to experience. He has elementals. He has the spirits. The janitor knows me by name now. The principal knows me by name. Like I walk in and Derek can turn on the spirit box and you will hear it as soon as he turns it on and
Jenny.
gets it sweeping going. He goes, Jenny, detention, Jenny, detention, Jenny, detention. I'm like, oh my God. So
Oh, that's
the owner gave me a t-shirt, one of a kind that says, I did survive detention.
That's
Because
right.
every time I
Wow.
do detention, he makes me sick. He makes me, he throws something at me. He shuts down all the equipment. But yeah, between
Oh, yeah.
me making me sick or throwing stuff at me, yeah, I have
Oh,
never
that's so
survived
funny.
detention in the school.
Oh my
So,
God.
One of
It's a
my
great-
Principal just throwing you in detention. That's a good one.
right?
That's funny.
So, but that school's amazing. So if you ever come out this way again, we'll have to take you on a little Midwest tour.
I would
Yeah.
love that.
We need to get out to Denver. I really want to go just visit the Stanley Hotel. It's one of my, bucket list locations. I'd love to just visit,
It's well, I love it. So
Yeah.
So
hopefully
how-
it continues to live up to its name when you come.
Right.
So
Right.
How far are you from Virginia City, Nevada?
I don't know, actually.
I wonder.
I'll have to
I'm
take
going
a
back in May, and I know I'll have some room. I'm doing the prison in Carson City,
look.
and then we're going to the Washoe Club.
Ooh.
Let me see here. Denver, Colorado. I'm just gonna put in Denver. To Virginia City. Wait, it's a 15-hour drive, but you can fly.
Hey, I don't mind driving. I drove down to Bisbee with two of my two friends that were helping me, and like we had the best time. It was like 13 and a half
See,
hours.
I
We had so much
I
fun.
love road trips because then you get to stop at all these places. Like you get to stop at these old towns. You drive past all these haunted locations.
Oh
When you
yeah.
fly, you don't get that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
like-
It's the best. Road trips are the
I
best.
know, like my friend and I were talking, like next year we might fly down to Vegas and drive up to Virginia City because
Ooh.
you have Goldfield, you have Tonopah, you have all of these mining cities that are now ghost towns.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you have the
Yeah.
Clown Hotel and stuff. So it's like,
Ooh.
Yeah. Old mining towns. Oof. That would be awesome.
That's my favorite thing about Colorado. Like those are like I have like that's why what brought me to Bisbee is different though because it is so vibrant and it's like
It
it's like
is.
an artist town. It's like
Mhm.
it's gone a different direction than most of our mining towns like here in Colorado. God, it's so hard because you all know like it takes you have to plan. Like when you do
Yeah.
you got to plan pretty far in advance. And so I'm already having to think about like where I'm having my retreat next year. And it's like, it's just, there's so many good places.
right? You could host a retreat at the Palmer House.
Oh.
And you could do like seances in the basement or like psychic medium workshops in the basement because that is like the creepy area of the Palmer House.
I may have to ask for some contact. I might need
Yes.
more information, Jenny, because
Yes.
like this is it's all
Like Dave Schrader hosts a bunch of events there with Shane Pittman and a bunch of other paranormal people. I know a couple of psychics do events there as well. It's like the hot spot of Minnesota for like the psychic paranormal event hall.
I love that.
But every event they host there, if anyone does events there, it sells out quickly because everyone wants to stay.
Everyone wants to go
Palmer
there.
House and experience the energy and the spirits. So it would be an automatic probably sellout.
So
And you would have me there because I could do aura photography.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah.
Look, connections being made all over the place. Oh my
Right.
god.
So
So
yeah,
relieved.
we'll definitely have to do some connection next year and all of us meet in person and have some fun
That
investigating.
would be amazing. It was so nice to meet. Are we like, I have no idea. Oh my God. How did like an hour and 15 minutes go by?
I
Already?
know,
Sorry,
right?
did
That's what
I,
I'm like,
I just blinked and like, didn't we just jump on here? Like we just started talking about ghosts and what happened. It was a time slip.
It
I'll have to
was.
find you on Facebook and we'll connect. And I'll get
I love that.
you with Alicia and Derek too.
Oh, definitely. Most
Yay.
definitely.
So thank you for coming on.
Oh my gosh,
I
thank
feel
you
like
for
we
having
need
me.
part 2 soon next year.
Yeah.
I would love that. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for
Yes.
coming on. It's so nice to meet you and talk to you.
It was
It was
wonderful to
amazing.
meet you too. Take care.
Before you pop off, where can people find you on Facebook, social media, all that?
So I'm not as active on Facebook as I am on Instagram, but on Facebook, Facebook, I am at Sterling Moon Tarot. On Instagram, I'm at the underscore moon. At the, oh my God, I'm so tired. October. Instagram is at the underscore Sterling underscore moon.
Okay.
And on TikTok, I'm at Mediumship Mom.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Nothing matches. I don't know how that happened.
You're diving into the TikTok world.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
You for having me. Take care.
Thank you. Oh, that was so much fun. We'll definitely have to get her to the Midwest.
Oh,
and do
yeah.
some investigations.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to know more. It's like every time I talk to people like with mediums and stuff like that, it's like I always want to like ask them personal questions and like, hey, what do you know? Like, I need to know like what you know because I want to experience your abilities. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just I don't get to see that every day. So it's just intriguing to me, you know, to meet these people that do this work and that have these gifts, you know. And yeah, it's like, oh my God. And then I'm always thinking of ideas as like when we're talking, it's like now I got to go like look into YouTube and watch all these documentaries and
Right.
talk about because I'm not honestly like I'm not familiar with a lot of what, you know, what they talk about sometimes. And so I got to do some more research. Jenny, with being on Unturned Pages now, I got to do some more research, get some more history so I know and I'm familiar with, you know.
Now he's got to turn some pages.
Right.
Oh,
Pages.
that's funny.
But next Sunday, we will be back with Michelle LeBaron, who we will be talking all about Virginia City, the Washoe Club, the Mackey Mansion, the Piper's Opera House, the Art Center, everything and anything about Virginia City, because she is very well known in that area of investigating. And then we'll also be talking about the Nevada State Prison, because she used to be a tour guide and paranormal investigator there. So we'll be diving into all of Virginia City and Carson City. So I'm super excited. She'll be showing some of her more profound photos of her investigations. And then the following week we have, I believe, Nick Simon's on.
Yeah.
I think.
Nick.
Then we have Steve Dills on the 23rd. He is a paranormal investigator out in the East Coast, Virginia. Not Virginia. I don't know. Out on the East Coast. And then we have Nikki Sleeth coming back on for part 2. I know Derek's super excited to have her back on because she kind of blew all of our minds at one time.
Yeah.
And then we won't have a show until we will skip December 7th because that is our paranormal parafamily holiday party that Derek is going to be coming to. Hint, hint, hint. And then on the 14th is our last show with Patty Negri. So we're going to kick it out with the one and only Patty Negri. Super excited. Unless I can get one special guest, or I should say, we might have some few special shows coming up if we can pull some strings. Like Derek has to work on someone.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And I got to work on 2 people that I know that want to come on, but it's going to be more of a working with their schedule than our schedule.
Right, right.
Some of these bigger names, we have to be more flexible with their timing and their schedules because
Yep.
they get crazy. They still have events through the end of the year, and let's just hope we can pull these off because it would be amazing.
It would be cool.
Yeah. And let's just hope and pray that I don't have Dustin Perry's bad luck on the 13th of November when I fly to Chicago. I messaged him. It was hilarious when I was stuck at Lexington. I messaged him several times. I'm like, take your bad luck away. Take it back. Take it back, dude. And he's like, I got on my flight out of Lexington the next day perfectly fine. I'm like, Dustin, I'm never hugging you again before I fly.
That's funny. That's funny. But you got to re-hug him so that way he can get it back.
Yeah, now I gotta give him be like,
exactly.
Here you go, bad luck back. I don't want it back. But I think if I'm just flying to Chicago, I should be fine. Pray to God, like that.
Yeah.
But if not, I will figure a way out. I'll just have to fly Delta again, I guess. Delta got me home. American Airlines did not. We will be back next Sunday. Same time, same place. Y'all have a great week, and we'll see you back next week.
Good night.
See ya.
Good night.